Hello, everyone. Welcome to Celsius 233, your go-to place for fiction book summaries. Today, we will unravel the story within Carnacki, The Ghost Finder by William Hope Hodgson. Carnacki, The Ghost Finder is a collection of supernatural detective stories by William Hope Hodgson, published in 1912. Hodgson, an English author known for his works spanning horror, fantastic fiction, and science fiction, created the character Thomas Carnacki, an occult detective. The stories revolve around Carnacki's investigations of various hauntings and supernatural occurrences, employing both scientific and mystical means to uncover the truths behind the eerie phenomena. Plot summary: Thomas Carnacki, the renowned investigator of the supernatural, was often called upon to delve into the dark and the inexplicable. One such instance led him to the infamous Grey Room, a place haunted by a sinister history. Anderson, the current owner of the house, implored Carnacki to solve the mystery behind the deaths that had plagued his family for generations. With a meticulous mind and an arsenal of both scientific instruments and occult knowledge, Carnacki set forth on his daunting task. Upon arriving, Carnacki found the house to be an eerie, ancient structure, its walls whispering tales of tragedy and fear. Anderson had left, unable to bear the thought of spending another night within those walls. Only Peter, the loyal butler, remained, his face lined with the dread of the unknown. He spoke of doors that slammed shut in the dead of night and of bedclothes torn from the bed by unseen hands. Carnacki, however, remained unshaken. He set about preparing his defenses, using ribbons, seals, and the electric pentacle, a device he had designed to ward off supernatural entities. Night fell, and the Grey Room seemed to pulse with a life of its own. A cold wind stirred the curtains, though no window was open, and the candles flickered as if a ghostly breath moved through the air. Carnacki sat in the center of his pentacle, eyes sharp and senses heightened. Suddenly, the door to the room slammed shut with a deafening thud, the noise reverberating through the house. Carnacki remained still, watching as the bedclothes were lifted and thrown into a corner by some invisible force. His heart pounded, but his resolve did not waver. Then he saw it, a monstrous hand, dark and grotesque, reaching out from the shadows. It moved towards him, but the electric pentacle held it at bay, the blue light forming an impenetrable barrier. Carnacki realized that the haunting was connected to a small, pentagon-shaped ring hidden within the room, a relic tied to a curse that had brought death to Anderson's ancestors. The ring served as a gateway, allowing the malevolent entity to cross into the mortal world. Carnacki destroyed the ring, the only way to sever the entity's link and end its reign of terror. With the ring gone, the monstrous presence vanished, and the Grey Room returned to silence. The curse was broken, and Carnacki emerged victorious. His adventures took him next to the desolate Gannington Manor in Ireland, recently inherited by his friend Wentworth. The manor stood shrouded in gloom, its windows darkened by years of neglect. Locals whispered of ghosts and a curse that haunted the estate. Wentworth, undeterred by these tales, decided to spend the night there, accompanied by a group of villagers and a bull mastiff, offered by a concerned old man. As the evening descended into night, the manor's true nature revealed itself. Strange apparitions flitted through the halls, and disembodied voices echoed in the darkness. The men, initially skeptical, soon found their courage waning. Carnacki probed the manor's history, uncovering the story of a hidden treasure and a family curse. The spirits that haunted Gannington Manor were bound to this treasure, their rest disturbed by the greed and violence that had surrounded its hiding. Using his knowledge of both science and the occult, Carnacki performed a ritual to cleanse the manor, breaking the curse and granting peace to the tormented souls. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and Gannington Manor was left silent and still, its ghosts finally laid to rest. In another case, Tassoc, the owner of a grand Irish mansion, sought Carnacki's expertise to rid his home of a chilling phenomenon, the whistling room. This room, silent for years, had begun to emit an eerie whistling sound, an unnatural melody that grew louder with each passing night. Carnacki arrived and immediately sensed the room's malignant aura. As he investigated, he realized that the room was more than just haunted. It was a living entity, an ancient evil that had made the room its lair. The whistling was its voice, a signal of its presence and its intent to harm. Carnacki set up his electric pentacle and prepared for a confrontation. The entity within the room resisted, its whistling turning into a banshee-like wail. Objects in the room moved as if propelled by an unseen force, and the walls seemed to close in on themselves. Carnacki, with his protective measures in place, witnessed the entity's manifestation, a dark, swirling vortex that seemed to pulse with malevolent energy. He managed to hold it at bay and advised Tassoc to seal the room permanently, warning that the entity within could never be truly destroyed, only contained. Carnacki's investigations also took him to the home of the Hischens family, who were haunted by a spectral horse. The horse, an omen of doom, appeared whenever a family member was about to marry, a curse that had plagued the family for generations. The night of the impending wedding was filled with tension as Carnacki set up his detection devices around the house. The spectral horse made its presence known, its ghostly hoofbeats echoing through the halls, and its form occasionally visible, a shimmering, ethereal steed. Through careful observation and the use of his instruments, Carnacki uncovered a human agent behind the hauntings. The spectral horse was a clever projection, a trick devised by someone seeking to manipulate the family through fear. By exposing the culprit and revealing the hoax, Carnacki lifted the curse that had tormented the Hischens family, allowing them to live without the shadow of the spectral horse looming over them. One of Carnacki's most personal cases involved a house near his own residence, known as the End House. The house was steeped in sorrow, its walls echoing with the cries of a child who had died there many years ago. The child's spirit had lingered, unable to find peace. Carnacki performed a cleansing ritual, using his electric pentacle to protect himself as he reached out to the spirit. He encountered the ghost of the child, a sad and lonely presence that yearned for rest. Through his ritual, Carnacki was able to guide the spirit to the afterlife, releasing it from its earthly bonds. The End House, once filled with an air of melancholy, was finally at peace. Perhaps the most dangerous case Carnacki ever faced was that of the Hog, a grotesque and malevolent entity from another dimension. This entity had the power to invade dreams and possess the minds of its victims, driving them to madness and destruction. It had set its sights on one of Carnacki's friends, tormenting him with horrific visions and compelling him towards self-destruction. Carnacki knew he was dealing with a force beyond any he had encountered before, a being of pure malice that sought to break through the barriers of reality. Using every ounce of his knowledge and skill, Carnacki prepared for a confrontation. He constructed a fortified version of the electric pentacle, knowing that even the slightest error could mean his doom. The ritual began, and the room darkened as the Hog's presence filled the space. Carnacki stood firm as the entity materialized, a grotesque, swine-like form that twisted and writhed in the air. It attacked with a fury that shook the very foundations of reality, but Carnacki's pentacle held strong. The battle was intense, pushing Carnacki to the brink of his endurance. In the end, he managed to banish the Hog back to its own dimension, but the encounter left him scarred, a reminder of the terrifying forces that lurk just beyond the veil of the known world. These investigations showcase the balance Carnacki strikes between science and the supernatural. His unwavering bravery and meticulous methods reveal the hidden truths behind hauntings, curses, and otherworldly entities. In his line of work, each victory is hard-won, and each case is a step further into the abyss, where logic meets the inexplicable and the unseen forces of the universe make their presence known. That's it for today, but if you're looking for more great reads, dive into other books by William Hope Hodgson. Details are in the description or on Celsius 233. Remember, while our summaries capture the essence, they can never replace the full experience of reading the book. If this summary intrigued you, consider diving into the complete story, buy the book, and immerse yourself in William Hope Hodgson's original work. Bye-bye, take care, have fun.